Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. As you can tell, if you're one of my longtime viewers, my desk is a little bit different today, and you're probably asking, well, what the heck is going on? Where did the Northwoods aesthetic go? And the answer to that, my friends, is this week is what I call Witchy Week 2024. So if you're asking, well, what does that mean? Earlier this month on, I believe it was October 1st, on my community tab, I announced that we were going to do a whole entire week, every single day, of Halloween-themed tarot readings for us to celebrate the season a little bit more, just to get us in the Halloween spirit. So, of course, today's reading is the very first day of Witchy Week 2024, and I am super stoked to have you all here. So thank you for clicking on this video, and thank you for joining me in some tarot fun this Halloween season. So without further ado, let us pick our piles for our reading, which, as you can tell by the title down below, is Unveiling a Mystery, What is a Hidden Truth You're Ready to Know? For my pile number ones, over here on the left, we have Spontaneous. For my pile number twos in the middle, we have Nurture. And for my pile number threes on the right, we have Mystical. So feel free, as always, to pause on this part of the video if you still need more time to decide. Otherwise, if you're not quite sure what to pick, or if you're new to pick a card readings, I always suggest go with your first gut instinct and trust that. But either way, whenever you're ready for your reading, drop down to the description box below and or the top pinned comment, click on the timestamp for your reading there, and I will see you in our discussion about a hidden truth you're ready to know. See you there. Hello there, my awesomely spooky pile number ones. Welcome to your pick a card reading today for Witchy Week 2024. What is a hidden truth you're ready to know? As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile today was Spontaneous. We have a picture of a witch looking down at a wolf who is howling at the moon. Perfect for the season, right? So as always with our pile leaders, I like to set them over here to the left. This time next to the candle, of course. And then we already have your oracle cards, and as is tradition, I like to draw the tarot cards right on screen. So I even bought a special deck for us this week. We're using the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, which is just perfect for the season, right? So Spirit Team of pile number ones, could you give me around 5 cards or so explaining more about a hidden truth they're ready to know? Can you expand on that? Thank you. Okay, let's pick our cards, pile number ones. Okay, and number 4, and one more. I think that one is calling our name. Let's pick that one, pile number ones. And let's unveil your cards together. First up from your oracle decks, we have a tea leaf fortune. And your tea leaf fortune is Firecracker Excitement. Very funny that you got that, because your pile leader today is Spontaneous. You kind of think of, maybe something happening that you weren't expecting, something happening a little bit out of the blue. We'll see what else pops out before I expand on that. Then from the Citadel Oracle today, you received the Pathless, Difficult Decisions, Lack of Direction. And that is the earth element if you are interested in the elemental association with this card. I'll set that here for just a second. And then the last oracle card today from Vintage Wisdom is Harmony. We have someone playing, it looks like a lyre, I believe, which is like an ancient form of a harp. Harmony. Beautiful. So we'll set that over here. And then we'll set the Citadel over this way. And let's unveil your tarot cards, pile number ones, for your hidden truth that we drew earlier. So the first tarot card today is the Knight of Cups. The second is the Nine of Cups. So lots of water so far. Nine of Cups. That almost makes me think of, and I know it's Halloween season technically, pile number ones, but there's kind of a wintry, Christmassy song called Walking in the Air. I think it was in a children's movie originally. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments though, pile number ones, but this gives me the vibes of that card, because it's like someone flying over a wintry scene together. So if you haven't heard that song, I recommend it. It's really beautiful, but I think Celtic Woman technically, or excuse me, might be pronounced Celtic Woman, covered that. Your third card is the Six of Pentacles reversed. There we go. Fourth card is the Ten of Pentacles. Lots of cups and lots of pentacles, so lots of water and earth. Put that one up this way. And your last tarot card today is the Six of Swords. So we do have one of the swords element, which is air. So let's see, excitement, spontaneous. Apologies for just one moment of silence here, pile number ones, as I look over your cards and put together your message about the hidden truth that your spirit team wants to talk about. Let's see, it's the Six of Pentacles. So, pile number ones, the context of the hidden truth. So just hear me out a little bit. We're going to talk about a bit of backstory that's leading up to what the actual hidden truth is, just to kind of, your spirit team wants you to understand the situation surrounding the hidden truth. So it feels like to me that there was a situation in either the far or recent past where you had to make a very quick decision. And it wasn't one necessarily that you thought through very carefully or thought through in a necessarily like a logical way. I'm not saying it was a bad decision, pile number ones, but it also wasn't a decision that was a very long process of making a choice. And I say that because not only were you drawn to spontaneous for your pile leader, that's literally what your intuition picked for you today, but you have the card of excitement with the firecracker. You also have from the Citadel Oracle up here the pathless, difficult decisions or lack of direction. And it feels to me that the reason why you made that choice so out of the blue, so rapidly, was because you just wanted to get away from something and you were spurred on by a feeling of unfairness, especially because of that Six of Pentacles reversed as the core card of your reading today. The Six of Pentacles reversed is about unfairness. Typically, it's about unfairness in finances because it is the Pentacle suit, which is earth, which is the material things around us, right? Pile number ones. But it could have been any unfairness, given that this is a general reading, and everyone watching this might be a little bit different as to how it applies to you. So just to summarize everything so far, the context up to the hidden truth is you made a spontaneous decision. It wasn't necessarily fully thought through. You were just kind of following your heart because there was something you wanted to get away from that was unfair, most likely due to finances. And of course, when I say that, pile number ones, typically that means, for most of you, I feel like it's maybe a job that you ran away from or a career that you ran away from because of the abundance of earth and pentacles in your reading. But you also have a lot of cups, which is the suit of the heart and emotions and relationships. So it could have also been maybe some people you were running away from. Maybe just people that weren't very good for you, that were kind of toxic. Same thing too with, especially that Six of Pentacles reversed. It's like maybe you even weren't even like paid fairly for it. And the question I'm hearing from your spirit team that maybe you keep asking yourself, and now we're getting to the hidden truth part of the reading, pile number ones, is why? Like that's the main thing being asked here. Why did they do this to me? Why were they unfair to me? Why? And you might even ask yourself, like, to the point of, because sometimes when we make spontaneous decisions like that, we make them, sometimes we know the reasons deep down, and sometimes we don't. Like, sometimes it's just a general vague feeling of, I'm uncomfortable in this place. So for, I think half of you, it is, you kind of pretty sure, you know why you left, at least on the surface level. But maybe even half of you aren't really even sure why you were uncomfortable and why you wanted to leave so bad. But in the end, you did leave here with that Six of Swords, pile number ones. That's literally the card of moving somewhere, moving to greener pastures or where the grass is growing greener, right on the other side. Okay, and someplace where there is a lot more harmony with the Vintage Wisdom card that came out. You wanted a place where you fit in better. That's kind of the imagery that comes up when I think of harmony, because harmony in music, pile number ones, is, if you're not familiar with the term, so typically you have a melody and that's like the main line. It's like the main theme of a song, and then harmony is like the other parts that work, or other notes I should say, that work underneath it in tandem. So it feels like this place that you left, there was just a lot of, I'll just use, to repeat myself, discomfort again. Like, you felt like you didn't fit in, things weren't harmonizing, people weren't working with you very well, and you just knew, I think deep down, that there wasn't really a good future for you there, especially with that pathless, difficult decision, lack of direction. You felt like you were just kind of like lost in the fog, maybe even a bit of a cog in the wheel. Like, you didn't really matter there is what you felt like, okay? And so that's the context leading up to your hidden truth. And so the hidden truth here, pile number ones. Just a moment of silence. I'm going to check in with your spirit team just to confirm. 1 second. Yes, the question is why. You keep asking yourself, why did they make me feel so uncomfortable? And the reason, pile number ones, is because the people involved in that place where you were unhappy were looking out for themselves more than they were looking out for anyone else. So if you're finding that you took it very personally, maybe you beat yourself up a lot over this, pile number ones, like maybe you thought to yourself, oh God, it's my fault, like I don't fit in, I should be able to fit in here, I should have done better, maybe I was a bad employee if it was a job for you specifically, thoughts like that. Honestly, pile number ones, I would throw those thoughts out the window, because what they're telling me, especially with the Knight of Cups and the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles, is it's describing to me a place or an environment that is all about people taking action based on their feelings, based on what makes them emotionally fulfilled, and almost the Nine of Cups can also be known as like the smug card. It's the card of someone feeling like very emotionally satisfied with themselves, which can be a great thing, but it also, especially in a reading like this, I feel like it's kind of a negative thing with these people that were involved. And then the Ten of Pentacles too is like just looking out for their own legacy, looking out for their own financial success. Maybe even inheritance was involved, because, Ten of Pentacles can mean that as well. It's sometimes known as a little bit of like a family card because of it's like a passing down of materials type energy. And yeah, so that's the hidden truth, pile number ones, is it wasn't your fault. So if you've been beating yourself up, like I said, toss that out the window. That it wasn't you, it was them. It was a them problem. You were more just of an innocent victim in this, is what I'm getting from your reading here, pile number ones, okay? So, if it's been something that's been keeping you up at night, you've been worried about it, and you're like, I wish it could have been better, I wish I could have salvaged this. Did I do anything wrong? I'm really just seeing it as, it was just a two-factor thing. So factor number one, it wasn't a good fit for you, not because of you, but because of them. And B, it was people who were just looking out for themselves, okay? Taking action on their own heart, their own desires, what was best for them both emotionally and financially, and not what was best for everyone else. Hence that Six of Pentacles reversed being the card of unfairness and finances, okay? And then, yeah, you left in the end. You're like, I can't stand this. And in fact, I wonder if other people left too. I'm getting a bit of an inclination here, an intuition message that it seems like maybe other people left as well. So that's another thing you should look at, pile number ones, when you consider like who's to blame for this, because if everybody was leaving, it wasn't just you, it was more of a problem of the environment there. I do want to ask some extra questions for you, pile number ones. So I'm going to grab our tarot deck again, and I want to ask your spirit team if they could give us maybe 3 cards or so explaining more about the motivations of the other people involved. I want to know more about that, and I think that might be something that would be healing for you to hear as well, pile number ones. So, spirit team of pile ones, could you give us 3 cards on that topic? Thank you. And two, I just was looking at, I'm sorry to interrupt drawing your cards, but I was just looking at your pile leader again with the wolf, and I heard lone wolf. I feel like you always felt kind of lonely there the whole time, pile number ones. You were always kind of the lone wolf. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the lone wolf. I mean, just because it's not a part of a pack doesn't mean it's any less of a wolf, or that it fits, or is skilled or, worthy, right? So let's get those 3 cards here about the motivation. So the Two of Swords is the card of choice. Very interesting. We'll see what else comes out in context. The Eight of Cups reversed, not wanting to emotionally move on. I think the motivations of the people involved here, pile number ones. Oh, and then, the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Turn of bad luck. The motivations of the people involved reading these three cards together were, either if it was one person or multiple people, no matter what, the reason behind it was because they were making a choice to not emotionally move on when they should have. There was something that they were emotionally attached to here with the Eight of Cups reverse that they should have just let go, but they wouldn't. They were so stuck on it, and I see them almost as frozen in time. Especially too if this was a business or a job related thing, it was like the company themselves was kind of stuck in time, doing things the way that they always had done. I mean, I'm surprised that the Hierophant reverse didn't come up here, but yeah, just stuck in time. Even with this imagery here, which it isn't a clock, and neither does the Eight of Cups typically represent time, but the different cups here surrounding almost look like the numerals on a clock to me, so it's like being stuck at a certain interval, repeating the same hour again and again, almost like what's that movie? Is that called Groundhog Day? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think it's Groundhog Day, where it's like someone gets stuck on the same day on repeat. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune reversed here, which is a turn of bad luck. I think they were just trying to avoid their own, bad circumstances or their own poor outcomes, pile number ones. And so unfortunately, they kind of threw you under the bus for that, but it wasn't personal. It was just like anybody else that they could have thrown under the bus that was available or convenient, they would have done so too. So once again, that's just a message of it's not a problem with you, it was a problem with them. Let's see if there's any other questions I want to ask for you or any other messages I can glean. Sorry, just another moment of silence. But you did make the right choice to leave pile number ones. That's also a part of the hidden truth here. You were right to become a lone wolf and do your own thing. That's a very repeated message here. Because I think when you were at this place, the direction that they were leading you and others was not towards a direction that you felt comfortable with and or that you enjoyed or other people enjoyed, or even at a moral level, maybe it wasn't the greatest thing or path to follow. And so you struck it out on your own, even though it might have hurt to kind of walk away from the metaphorical wolf pack, as we've been using that throughout the reading, the metaphor of that. But like I said, the lone wolf it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the lone wolf. I mean, sometimes the strongest thing you can do, the most brave thing you can do, is to walk away when a whole group of people are wrong. Because honestly, that's where the greatest of humanity's ills tend to come from, is when groups of people do something and no one stands up and says, hey, wait a minute, maybe this is wrong, right? And so your spirit team is commending you for that, pile number ones, for walking away, finding where you can find some place where there's more harmony and more peace. And so I think for a while there might have been a bit of guilt in your heart. Perhaps you felt like, oh, I shouldn't have left. Was I a bit too reckless or rash? Trying to think of other questions you might have asked yourself. Just things driven from anxiety and guilt and self-doubt. And maybe a little bit of a lack of self-esteem because of what happened. Because events like this can make you feel a little insecure, right? Pile number ones. But once again, that's just the hidden truth of you did the right thing. So I think one question I do want to ask for you from your spirit team is if they can give us 3 more cards of advice in this situation on this path that you're on. I want to know if there's lasting, a parting piece of wisdom they want to give you regarding how to go forward with this situation and hidden truth. So yes, spirit team, 3 cards on that, please. Thank you for pile number ones. Oh, okay, there's 3 cards right there. Well, actually, there's 4. We'll read all 4 of them. Okay, so first up, we have the 5 of Wands reversed. Usually that's about avoiding conflict. We have Chains reversed is the Devil. Yep, reversed. Okay, that's just clarifying exactly what I was just saying, pile number ones. Freeing yourself was the best damn thing you could have done. You made the right choice. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Usually that's about keeping on your path. Slow and steady wins the race. But reversed, it's a lot more about... In this situation, I would interpret it as it was right to kind of turn around and not keep going at this particular... And once again, with Pentacles coming up, I think of a job because that's the career suit typically. And then we have the Six of Wands reversed, which can indicate a feeling of a lack of victory. So it might not feel very victorious, pile number ones, and they're acknowledging that with the Six of Wands reversed at the end here. It doesn't feel like you won anything. It's one of those things where, like, if there had been even a fight or a battle of some sort, maybe that's where that Five of Wands reversed is coming in. It didn't feel like a very fun battle to win or a very fun argument to, come out on top of. But you did the right thing in freeing yourself is what they're saying. And so continue to free yourself as a piece of advice, especially with the chains, or that's typically the devil reversed, is the energy of freeing yourself from the things that bind you, from literal chains holding you back. So that's just another reiteration, an emphasis, maybe is a better word. Continue working on freeing yourself. Two, though, at the same time, if you can, I feel like maybe there's still a little bit of like a lingering effect from this group or this place that you left, so maybe you're still in contact with some of them. If so, that Five of Wands reversed is about avoiding conflict of ego, avoiding the need to be right, avoiding the need to let your power or ego overcome you on your way of freeing yourself and moving out of this situation. And I'm not saying that you would be inclined to do that, pile number ones, but that is a piece of advice that they're giving you here with that Five of Wands reversed. So it could be more so that, maybe other people are kind of baiting you into it and you just kind of have to say, no, I'm not going to take the bait. I'm just going to keep walking away. And that Knight of Pentacles reversed too also tells me that you were right in breaking away abruptly and not continuing on that path. Refusing to take more action in this area. So even though it doesn't feel like a victory, pile number ones, deep down it really is. You being this lone wolf breaking away. Let's see if there's anything else. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything for you, pile number ones. So yes, just continue to look for your harmony. Continue to look for a different wolf pack where you fit in, pile number ones. Continue to look for places that allow you to be free. Maybe even that is at the point of you being self-employed or doing your own thing rather than working for a different company where you have like managers over you. Maybe that's kind of where that lone wolf feeling is coming from. And or at the very least finding another place where, assuming that this is a job for you, pile number ones, where it's an environment of freedom and being open to speak and open to, like, you vibe with the people there more. A place where you fit in more. A better environment for who you are deep down inside. And maybe even a more moral one, especially considering that Six of Pentacles reversed we saw at the beginning. That unfairness. Look for places that are a lot more fair to you because you owe it to yourself, pile number ones. You owe it to yourself to go to a place where you're paid fairly, where people treat you fairly, where your ideas are valued, and that it's a place that aligns with your morals. You can feel comfortable doing the work that you do every single day if this is a job and or, some of you it might apply as like this is a friend group you left or like a community group that you left. Same thing applies. Just take what I said about the job advice of moving away from it and apply it to your specific situation in this general reading. So, yep, that's to summarize, that was the hidden truth, pile number ones. You were right to do what you did. And the people that made poor decisions that led you to leave did it out of fear and out of being stuck in the past. That's your hidden truth for today. So, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If you liked it, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for you and other people in the future, should you choose to return. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you don't view any more readings this week, have a happy Halloween. And if you do, I will see you tomorrow or another day this week. But thank you so much, pal number ones. Bye. Hello there, my lovely spooky pile number 2s. Welcome to your Witchy Week Pick a Card reading on the topic of a hidden truth you're ready to know. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Nurture. So we have an absolutely lovely scene here of someone sitting next to the fire with tons of animals around them, which I think all of us can relate to desiring. That just looks wonderful. I wish I was by a fire right now. I hope you're by a fire right now, pile number 2s. Sounds very cozy. So we'll put that over here next to the candle like we do with the pile leaders in all of our readings. And as is tradition, we're going to draw the tarot cards on screen. So spirit team for pile number 2s. Using our new Ghosts and Spirits tarot deck. Could you give me around 5 cards explaining more about the hidden truth they're ready to know? Thank you. Okay, we got 2, 3, 4 maybe. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have one more to pick. So let's pick from the deck. That one for sure is the most prominent, so we'll choose that one. And let's unveil your cards, pile number 2s. Oh, there goes the candle. So first up from your oracle cards, your tea leaf today is 4-leaf clover, great good fortune. Well, that's a pretty good sign off the bat. Talk about that more in a second as we pull your other cards. Your Citadel card today is the Hound with the element of fire, loyalty, chains, and promises. Put that there for a second. And your last oracle card is your Vintage Wisdom card of Guardian Angel. You might have one of your spirit guides, specifically a guardian angel, looking out for you a bit more closely, or at least they did in this particular situation. We'll see what else comes out before I say for sure, but put that over here. And let's unveil your tarot cards, pile number 2s, although we already saw a lot of them because they flipped out. So first up, we have Temperance reversed. Secondly, we have the 10 of Wands reversed. Third card is the Queen of Cups reversed. Fourth is the 4 of Wands. Looks like kind of an imp-like creature there, yeah. That creature looks quite ghastly. Of course, it is a Ghosts and Spirits tarot, so things are going to look a bit spooky, of course. But then we have the 2 of Cups reversed. So just a moment of silence here. Apologies, pile number 2s, as I look over your cards and put together your hidden truth message, as well as some intuitive downloads from your spirit team here. Okay, Hound, loyalty, chains, and promises. Well, I think I'm already getting the main message right off the bat, pile number 2s. And I want to ask you a question, and I know, of course, this is rhetorical because you can't answer through the screen, but was there a situation, either in the far past or recent past, pile number 2s, where you seem to have an incredible amount of luck, and or it feels like something saved you from something else? Because I'm getting the vibe that there's a guardian angel reaching out to you. And I don't say that just because you have the guardian angel card here. Of course, that is part of it. But you also have the Hound, which is about, like, loyalty. Like, we think of dogs as very loyal creatures. And even here with Nurture, you have a lot of animals in that particular card. So it might even be like a guardian angel in terms of an animal, or an animal spirit guide, maybe a deceased pet or a dog specifically, though it could be other animals. There are some other ones here in this particular card, but I feel like they're reaching out to you in this reading today. And I know it's technically a hidden truth reading, so I think there's more of a message here than just that. But just for the context of what's going on and where this is coming from, I definitely feel the energy of, if not at least a guardian angel, there's... So intuitively, I'm feeling it's like, some of you it's a guardian angel type spirit, and some of you it's both a guardian angel and like an animal spirit. And I think for most of you, if there's an animal spirit coming forward, it's a deceased pet of yours. And for most of you, once again, sorry I keep saying that, but this is general reading, so everyone's going to be a bit different as to how this applies. But for most of you where this is a pet coming forward, it's a deceased dog. Because of the abundance of animals that are dogs in this reading. I mean, even let me look over your tarot cards and make sure I didn't miss any other animals. We do have a swan in the Temperance card, and I get the feeling if it was a dog or a pet of yours, pile number 2s, it was one that you were very closely connected to. It was one that, I don't know if you were homeless at one point and they lived with you even through that, or you lost them because you lost your home, and you always kind of wondered where they went. And it's like they're reaching out to you again and saying, hey, I'm okay. Even though I think at this point they're probably, like, it was so long ago that they're deceased by now, but they're reaching out to you, I think, in this reading, pile number 2s. Of course, like I said, some of you, I think it is just a guardian angel spirit as well. So I might kind of read this reading in like 2 different groups, but I'll try to make sure the message applies to everybody because it is a collective reading. So yes, they were someone who was very, very close to you. So like a pet that was almost always your shadow, following in your steps, like your best buddy, your best friend. It's almost like you found them on accident, too, like you didn't even intend to adopt them. I see that because of the 4-leaf clover. Like you just happened upon them one day, like you weren't intending to adopt an animal, and then all of a sudden, bam, it was like, oh, here's this pet. And I'm so connected to them, and I want to be with them. But looking at your tarot cards here... Sorry, just again, a moment of silence. I don't know, too, if they had some sort of head-related disease or injury that caused their end. Something to do with their mouth or their head. I'm getting. Sorry, this is almost turning into like a passed on loved one reading because... But yeah, and a lack of balance in that area, like it was a hormonal imbalance or... Like, I don't know if it was like dementia, something to do with the brain. And then also maybe something to do with the heart there with the Queen of Cups reversed. And I think you felt a lot of grief over the loss of this person, pile number 2, especially with that 2 of Cups reversed, because it's the card of like disharmony or like the loss of a relationship. But it's like this person was your home or this pet was your home. They felt like home to you. And that's who's reaching out to you today. So far we're not really at the hidden truth part. I will pull more cards because I want to make sure, like, it seems like this is a message that they want to give to you. I'm going to draw those cards right now, actually, pile number 2s here. But they are emphasizing that whatever happened to them in terms of the end of their life, that 10 of Wands reversed is a card of releasing burdens. So if you feel any guilt over what happened, there's basically telling you not to feel guilty, especially if it was like a pet you had to put down or you lost. So I'm going to ask, collectively pile number 2 is the animal spirits and or the guardian angels that are coming forward for them. Do you have like a centralized message for them with like, say, 3 different cards? What do you want to talk to them about today? Let's see, we have the King of Pentacles, okay. Mastery of money, career, let's see, in context with the Knight of Cups reversed. Very interesting. And then last but not least, we have the 7 of Pentacles, planting seeds for the future. So the message, the thing they want to talk to you about today, pile number 2s, is it's something to do with... So for those of you where this is a pet, they want to talk to you about a situation where it feels like you might not have had enough money to provide the care for them that they needed. Because you have an abundance of pentacles. You have the King of Pentacles and then you have the 7 of Pentacles. And they're thanking you for what you did for them, knowing that you couldn't have done more. And once again, I mean, that happens a lot with passed on loved ones reading is oftentimes there's a lot of trying to calm down guilt or making sure that you don't feel guilty or regret over things that happen because, you know, of course, where they are now, like they're very happy. I mean, that's a common message that comes across with these types of readings. Well, yeah, even too, because, I mean, you see a grave over here in the Seven of Pentacles. So this message they want to talk about, like I said, is something to do with money and not being able to take action with the things that you wanted to do. So it's like you felt bad because there was something to do with like you couldn't afford treatment for them, or it was something that was so... Because sometimes with, like, especially if this is a pet for you, pile number 2s, there can be... Like, I've had this with my own pets before, where there was a situation where I had a cat once who had a really bad disease, basically, is how I'll put it. And by the time we figured out what had happened to this pet, or like what he was going through, like his quality of life would have been not the best, even if we had treated him. So unfortunately we had to put him down, that particular cat of mine. And this is what this reading is reminding me of. It's like they want to talk to you about that situation, especially if this is a pet for you, and the guilt you might feel over, oh God, I wish I had just paid the money, or, you know, I wish maybe I had done something different at that time. And then same thing too, if this is just a guardian angel reaching out to you, or I shouldn't say just, because, I mean, guardian angels are really cool too, not just, you know, I'm not saying like the pet spirits are better or anything, but if this is a guardian angel reaching out to you and not a pet specifically, pile number 2s, they want to talk to you about something very similar collectively, about something that you felt bad about not being able to follow your heart on regarding like money. So I'm going to ask then, what is like the full hidden truth? What is the, like, that's the context. I want to know exactly what do they want to say to you about this situation. So animal spirits and or guardian angels collectively for pile 2s, could you give me 3 cards that explain what it is you want to say about this situation? Like if you could say anything to pile 2s, what would it be? And they felt really lucky to have you, pile 2s. I'm hearing that too. So we have the 7 of Swords reversed, which is usually, well, we'll talk about that in context with the others, but the 2 of Wands is planning for the future. Then we have Justice reversed. So they're telling me if this was a pet for you, pile number 2s, I mean, once again, I'm kind of sounding like a broken record because I was already saying like this comes up in Passed On Loved Ones readings a lot, but they're really reassuring you not to feel guilty over what happened. I think you might view it as a betrayal of some sort because of that 7 of Swords reversed. Often that's the card of like someone being, you know, tricky, or they're betraying somebody, but reversed, it's like they're telling you to let go of that feeling of feeling like you betrayed them. And 2, with Justice reversed, it's very similar, where it's like you feel like, oh, I did an injustice for them, you know, I did the wrong thing, like, you know, I hope they're not upset with me. But then the 2 of Wands in the central position here is just telling me that, you know, that's the card of planning for the future, of things that are planned ahead of time. And so in a death related reading, what that tells me is they're reassuring you that it was their time to go. And once again, I know that's a cliche with death related readings, but you have, you know, like I said, either an animal spirit or a guardian angel of some sort, which actually, you know, sometimes a spirit guide can technically be an ancestor passed on as well. So everyone's going to be different as to how this applies, but they're saying this was in the plan here with the 2 of Wands. This was supposed to be, this is what was decided before they even came to Earth. You know, we have a time to go, and when we meet that time to go, that's the date, and we can't always change that. In fact, I think most of the time, at least the readings I've done on Passed On Loved Ones, typically that's a pretty set in stone date. So, you know, and they're really congratulating you on pile 2s. If this is a pet, they watch over the pets that you have taken care of since, you know, they part of the reason they were in your life was to, I get the feeling for a lot of you this was a childhood pet, if it's a pet for you, that part of the reason for being in your life was to teach you the value of friendship with other animals. And they feel very lucky having come across you, especially too with that 4-leaf clover. It's about having great or good fortune. And Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. Death readings always make me emotional, but even with pets, because I love animals myself. But yeah, it's just a very reassuring. So, I mean, if I were to summarize the hidden truth, I know we got kind of off track because it turned into a passed on pet reading here for at least some of you. If I were to summarize the hidden truth for you, it's that if you feel guilty at all, they're reassuring you that there was nothing that you could have done different. Like, and or it's like, don't feel guilty for the choices you made, because at the time that was the only choice that you had, and it was a preordained time to go. Okay? They're reassuring you that. And I don't know, were they possibly like a red-haired ginger cat or like a ruddy or like a light-haired dog? I'm getting that for some of you as well here intuitively. But yeah, just like a little shadow. They always followed you around like you were they're human, okay? I mean, there is birds as well. We have like the swan and there's an owl and a crow in your nurture card. And so it could have maybe even been like a red tinted bird. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm not very familiar with raising animals as birds as pets. So, but for those of you who are resonating with this pile in the comments, feel free to let me know what kind of pet it was. But yep, they're just reassuring you here. And or two, if this is going to the other half of you or part of you where this is a guardian angel and not an animal spirit, the guilt you feel over not being able to take action over something related to finances, or like finances got in the way, they're saying that, like, not to feel guilty or feel like you disappointed anyone else or yourself, because once again, similar to the pet interpretation of the reading, it was something that was meant to happen there with that Two of Wands. You might feel like it was an injustice to yourself or someone else, or you might feel like it was a betrayal to someone else or yourself, but once again, I'm drawn to that Two of Wands telling you that this was meant to be. Okay, so for those of you where this is not related to a pet, I want to draw like an extra 3 cards for you specifically, because I want to ask, like, what lies in the future regarding why you were meant to take this path that maybe you felt disappointed with at first. But, like, why was it meant to be? Because usually there's a reason for it. So, guardian angel spirit guides for my pile number 2 is where this is regarding more of an event in their life rather than a pet. Could you give me 3 cards explaining that? Thank you. Or 1 or 2 at least. So, why was it meant to be? The Ace of Pentacles reversed. Part of it was because where you were, there wasn't financial opportunity, which is kind of kind of a duh thing, because, you know, we were already talking about how finances might have been an issue. But that Ace of Pentacles is like a lack of opportunity reversed. We have the Queen of Wands, something to do with your confidence. And then we have Death, needing change. Change. So the reason why it was set in stone was because there needed to be change. There needed to be a greater opportunity for you to grow your confidence in some way with that Queen of Wands. And where you were at that point was not a fertile ground for becoming the person you are today, especially in terms of your confidence. Okay, pile number 2 is for those of you where this is like a guardian angel related thing, but I also want to ask an extra question for those of you that this is pet related too, because I want to be fair to each group of people within the collective reading for pile number 2s today. So spirit animal that came forward for collectively for pile number 2 is for those of you, this is a pet reading. Is there anything else you want to tell them about maybe in the near future? Or about their current pets? Let's ask maybe 3 cards. Thank you. Sorry, this is such an all over the place reading today, but there's just so many different interpretations that are coming through intuitively for everybody watching this pile. I would not be surprised if most people click on this particular pile because there's so many readings coming out just in one. Okay, so we already have 3 cards. The High Priestess reversed, following intuition or not. The Knight of Swords reversed, taking action with the way we say things, doing things quickly. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Okay. So this is for those of you where this is a pet related reading, something else they want to talk to you about, this pet of yours. Okay. Apologies just for a moment of silence here. So intuitively, I'm being told, pile number twos, that this, for those of you where this is a pet spirit coming forward to you, there's something about a place you used to frequent with them that they want you to return to for some reason. Okay? And I know that sounds very odd, because that isn't like the typical interpretation of these three cards. This is more of an intuitive thing coming out. But I feel like you've already got an inclination, or maybe you were remembering them recently for some reason because of that High Priestess reverse, but you kind of put it back to like the back of your mind because it's reversed. Like it's like an intuition that comes up, but you kind of stuff it down. That's what High Priestess reversed means. And they're telling you to take action on a thought that you had with the Knight of Swords and go back to a place of it's like a legacy, because that's typically what the Ten of Pentacles means, is, you know, a place that was passed down or a thing that was passed down. Typically that means inheritance, but for a pet reading, I would read it as like a place that you used to go to. I'm going to just look at this picture a little closer too. There might have been a lot of trees. Maybe it was a park you used to go to with this pet, or a tree that they like to climb or go around, something like that. Yeah. And there's something of value for you there if you go and return to that place for some reason, is what they're telling you. Maybe even if you do have, say it is like a dog spirit for you, and you have a new dog, there's something about returning to that place with your new dog too, like the new pet. Or they're saying that they watch over you when you bring that new pet to where you used to take them. Something to that effect. So I get the sense that they're around you a lot. Pile number two is this particular animal spirit. Like they're around you all the time. I think that's might even like why you were intuitively drawn to the nurture card here, because literally it's like a woman or a figure surrounded by tons of animals and pets. And once again, even like a light-haired dog, like I was saying in that particular picture. But so, I mean, to summarize, once again, I'm sorry this was so all over the place, because it was almost like a two-split reading, depending on what group you fall into here in pile number two. But to summarize, yeah, your hidden truth today is some of you, it was an animal spirit pet, likely, that reached out to you and is trying to balm your worry or your guilt a little bit around how they passed on, that it was their time to go, okay? And that wherever they are right now, they're fine, they're doing well. And that they watch over you a lot. That's another interpretation that's coming out a lot here. And for you to maybe visit some place that you used to go with them. A little bit of a hint towards you, okay? And then for those of you where this is more just a guardian angel coming out and it's not related to a pet, there's something about a situation where you felt you had a lack of opportunity, or you didn't take an action that your heart wanted because you felt like you didn't have the money, or there was some sort of opportunity situation that you lacked. And they're saying it was meant to be, because the path you took instead led you to grow more confidence in some area of your life and offered you an opportunity to do that, to make a change in that direction. And that is your version of the hidden truth in today's reading. Okay. So, yep, that wraps up both piles, or I should say both groups in each pile two today. So, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you guys. If you liked the reading, if it resonated with you, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for both you and everyone else who views these readings. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next reading and wish you a wonderful rest of your day. You know, be it you join me for tomorrow for the next video in Witchy Week, or just some reading in the future at your leisure. So I will leave you with that, my lovely spooky pile number twos. Bye. Hello there, my lovely spooky pile number threes. Welcome to your day one Witchy Week tarot reading on the topic of what is a hidden truth you're ready to know. As you recall, your pile leader you chose today was mystical. So we have a witch with a pentagram above her pentacle, with a black cat by her side and two candles burning. Very beautiful picture. So as always with our pile leaders, I like to set them over here to the left, and as is custom, we will draw our tarot cards on the screen right now here at the beginning. Oh, there we go. The cards want to hold on to the paisley here. So let's shuffle on camera with our new Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. So Spirit Team, for pile number 3s, could you give me around 5 cards explaining more about the hidden truth they're ready to know? Thank you. There's number 1. Number 4, and here's number 5. And let's unveil your cards, pile number 3. So first up from your oracle cards today, your tea leaf was... Sorry, I just had to readjust your pile leader. Your tea leaf today was bouquet. Compliments from an admirer. Oh boy. Could be a little bit of a romantic theme today, or it could just be a platonic admirer. See what else pops out before I say anything conclusively, though. Then from the Vintage Wisdom, you received union. So a lot of partnership vibes. We'll see what else pops out. Could be, like I said, once again, platonic or romantic. And then from your Citadel Oracle, you received the Assassin with the element of fire, ruthlessness or conviction. Ruthlessness or conviction. And unveiling your tarot cards. We'll see if the Lovers pops out. Then I know it's probably romantic, but we'll see. First up, we have the Page of Wands reversed. Then we have the Page of Cups reversed. Lots of pages so far. Number 3, we have the King of Swords reversed. Looks like the Headless Horseman. Number 4, the Nine of Swords reversed. You know, I'm wondering if you were confused about how somebody felt. We'll see what else pops out. And last but not least, we have Chains, which is the Devil as it's known in most decks. So, just a moment of silence here as I look over your cards and gather intuitive messages from your spirit team. Apologies just for a little bit of quiet here, pile 3s. So, pile 3s, what's popping out to me intuitively with your reading today? So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the context leading up to the hidden truth. So, at first, you're going to be like, okay, well, what's the secret? We'll get there, I promise. But first, I have to kind of talk about what happened relating to what the hidden truth is about. And the context, what I'm being told is... there was a situation in either the far or recent past, it could technically could even be the present too, where you came across somebody where you weren't sure how they felt about you. And I think the way they came off to you was someone who I think you just thought that they disliked you. You thought that they hated you even, maybe. So that's kind of an extreme to say hate, but I'm definitely getting a feeling of, oh, this person is like judgmental to me. Oh, this person doesn't like me. Oh, this person just thinks I'm annoying, or, you know, they don't. For some of you, it could even be this was a romantic type thing where you had a crush on someone and you thought, oh God, there's no way that they liked me back. You know, they probably just thought, you know, oh, I don't want to be with pile number 3, like that they weren't interested in you. Those types of thoughts. And they came off as kind of rugged and cold, and especially, too, because of the assassin you received here from the Citadel Oracle, you know, ruthlessness and conviction. Like, you think of an assassin, you think of someone who is very one-track minded on, like, they're kind of cold, and they have just one goal in mind. And, you know, you have a lot of court cards here, too, and in tarot, the court cards can represent people. So when I say court cards, I mean, like, the 2 pages and the King of Swords. I was going to say Knight. The King of Swords, and... especially with the assassin coming out with that King of Swords reversed, this was a person who came off as very, I don't know if they were very blunt-tongued or kind of cold in the way they spoke. Sometimes that's how the King of Swords reversed kind of manifests in a person. And 2, it was someone who, they seemed like, because you also have the Page of Cups reversed and the Page of Wands reversed, someone who might have been inexperienced with love or relationships and friendships in general. Maybe they were a bit of an isolated person, 100% get that. I'm not judging them. I'm a kind of a hermit myself. But, and then too, with the Page of Wands reversed, it's like someone who is new or inexperienced regarding their passions, things that they're passionate about, things that they're, and especially because of so many pages coming out, I think it was at the time of when you were in school, if you, are past the point of school, or if you're currently in school, that might more apply to you in the recent past, of course, or your present, but because I see the pages as they're often the student cards. They're the cards of like apprenticeship or being new to learning something. And I think even later on if you did have an opportunity to meet this person again past the point of when you were at school with them, they still kind of came off as cold, and you always wondered, like, it could have been that you even did date them if this is a romantic thing, pile number 3 is, and, like, the cutoff was so cold, like, you thought, oh god, they must have just not ever really liked me, like, maybe they even ghosted you is kind of the word that's coming out, which is, well, not funny, but kind of funny because this is like the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, but what I want to tell you, and just hear me out, that was all the context leading up to the hidden truth. Intuitively, what I am being told, as far-fetched as it sounds, pile number 3s, I think they actually liked you a lot more than they let on. And I say that because you have, well, there's kind of a threefold reason I say that. Number one, you have Union from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle, and that's the card of literally like someone being in harmony with someone else. That's literally what to like be in union with someone else means, right? You also have compliments from an admirer, Bouquet. So that's kind of where I also get a feeling of maybe this was romantic, or it could have been romantic potentially. And the threefold, or third part I should say, is with the mystical card you were drawn to for your pile leader. The feminine figure here, the witch, I should say, is looking off in one direction. And it's almost like she's not noticing the cat looking up at her. And when we look up at someone, like, it's almost metaphorical for, like, looking up to somebody. And so I think this person admired you a lot more than you expected. I think they just, I'm going to say it bluntly, pile number 3s, and this might kind of come off as funny, but I think they were just emotionally constipated. Like, they were not very good with their emotions. I get the feeling that they could have been a very academic person. And there's someone with the devil here having come out as chains who was very restricted in the way they expressed themselves. Maybe even culturally they came from a place where, you tend to be a little bit more stoic and not so forthcoming with your feelings. Like, I know, like, my personal culture is kind of like that because, like, just in my example, my family, a lot of us are descended from Scandinavian people, and Scandinavians are known to be kind of like, not cold necessarily, but a little bit more stoic. So that's the vibe I'm kind of getting off of this person, that actually really did admire you, and I think they liked you a lot more than they let on, but either for cultural reasons, like I was just talking about with the Scandinavian example, or for reasons of, like, immaturity here with all those pages coming out, and then just not being very good at speaking, they weren't very forthcoming about it. And so the reason why you're being told about this is because of that 9 of Swords reversed. Your spirit team wants to have you alleviate some anxiety regarding this situation, because that's literally what the 9 of Swords reversed means. It means, like, letting go of mental stress, letting go of the things that bother you in your mind. Like, I was just talking about in a reading the other day, like, that meme of the girl that's trying to go to sleep and her brain is like, hey, remember that thing that happened so long ago? And it's like a really dumb thing that just keeps you up at night, and then her eyes just go really wide and she can't fall asleep. Like, I feel like this might be that kind of situation for you, pile number 3s, where it's maybe something that kind of keeps you up at night, like that girl in that the brain at night meme. And so your spirit team is just like, okay, just the next time that comes up in your mind, pile 3s, just remember the hidden truth of this reading is that they actually did like you a lot more. And so, maybe it bothers you because of, like, it knocked your confidence a little bit. It dinged your self-esteem. Maybe you thought, oh, maybe I'm not as attractive, especially if this is like a romantic thing. Like, I'm not as attractive as I thought I was, or at least to them I wasn't. Or, maybe there was something wrong with me or inherently bad about me that made them reject me. But honestly, it was more a them problem I'm seeing for you. You're kind of like pile number ones today where, the hidden truth was regarding not so much something about themselves in a situation, it was about kind of the faults of someone else having caused it, even though, like pile number ones, maybe there's a bit of tendency to self-blame where there shouldn't be any here, okay? I do want to ask some extra questions for you, though, because I am very, very curious, and I'm sure you are too, pile number three, is about why. Why? What did they really feel? I'm going to pull 3 cards asking how they really felt behind the scenes. Let's see here. Spirit team for pile 3s, could you give me 3 cards explaining how this person felt behind the scenes beyond just the regular admiration thing? And like I said, this doesn't have to be romantic pile 3s. It could have also been, I'm hearing for some of you, like, a teacher type person. And they came off as very, very cold, and you thought, oh god, this teacher just, like, freaking hated me. But actually, they admired you a lot more than you thought they did. They were just kind of maybe harsh on everybody. But let's get the intentions here with these 3 cards. Thank you, Spirit Team. What did they really feel about pile number 3s? Okay, that one for sure wanted to come out. Okay, well, there's 2 that came out. We'll talk about those in a second. What do they really feel about you? I want to know. We're getting juicy here. We want some secrets, okay? It's a hidden truth reading, right? So first up we have the moon. And then we have the 5 of swords. Ooh. I don't know if you ever got in arguments with them, pile number 3s, but if you did, they liked it. Don't ask me why, but I think it was because it was intellectually stimulating. And then the moon is often about, like, illusions, things not being what they seem, maybe a little bit mysterious. And then we have the 9 of wands. Determination. They liked your spark. They thought, pile number 3s, they thought that they really admired your determination. They admired your spirit and your spark. They admired the way that you almost kind of clashed with them. And I know that sounds like weird because most of the time, when people clash in life, they don't like the people that they clash with. But this particular person, despite how cold they came off, deep down inside, yeah, They liked when you spat with each other a little bit. And maybe that's why you thought that they hated you or something, because you're like, oh god, we argue all the time. I think they just, like, you thought maybe they just despised you, but they didn't. They liked that in you. They loved that spark. And then, yeah, the moon is things are not what they seem. And it's, actually, is that a couple in here? Let me check one second. I'm going to look closely. I can't necessarily tell. It's 2 figures. One is wearing armor and one is wearing a robe. You might not be able to see that on the screen because, I really, really, really love Lisa Hunt's decks, but they are so detailed. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see that on camera, and my camera, unfortunately, isn't an autofocus, so I can't just, like, hold it up and show you, but there is someone who is more of an armored figure, and there's someone who's more of a robed figure here in the moon card. So, it's like you looked like, to them, someone who would be soft, but you weren't, and they liked that. So I don't know if you have an appearance that comes off as a lot more demure or, like, shy or gentle, but then when people get to know you, it's like there's a spark there, and you have this indomitable will and this intellect that just clashes with other people in a very admirable way in terms of, like, I don't feel like you're the type of person, pile number 3s, who, you're not, like, mean about arguing with people, but you do so in a way where people really admire your intellect, and I see that especially with this person we're talking about. That's what they liked about you. That's really what they thought about you behind the scenes. They were like, I like that they stand up to me. I like that they argue. I like that they're smart. And I like that there's so many layers to them underneath the surface with that moon. It's like an illusion. You weren't what you seemed, and they thought that was really intriguing. Okay? So that's part of the hidden truth today, is that's what they really thought about you, which is pretty flattering. I mean, they liked the way that you sparked. They liked the way that you didn't just, like, take things sitting down. You didn't just let people walk all over you. And maybe you're even a bit stubborn, and they liked that too. And then I also want to ask some extra questions for you, pile 3s, because I did ask a bunch of extra questions for the other piles today, and of course I want to be fair, but, I mean, so far, pretty straightforward. So, like I said, could be romantic for some of you, could be potentially, like I heard, like, a professor or a teacher for some of you. Maybe that's where some of the intellectual debate came in, if it was a school-related thing. Let's see, I also want to ask, How do they reflect on what happened between you and them? I want to know that. Spirit team of pile 3s, could you tell me, like, at this point in time, how does this person pile 3 interacted with? How do they look back on what happened? We have the 9 of Pentacles, which is the fruits of our labor. Okay. I'll show that to you in a second here. So 9 of Pentacles. How do they look back on what happened? We have the 2 of Wands reversed, poor planning. Ooh, might be some regret there. And the 6 of Swords reversed. Okay, they wish they could go back. So we have the 6 of Swords reversed, the 2 of Wands reversed, and the 9 of Pentacles. So, you know, pile 3s, I think they're happy with where they are right now, at least in terms of, like, career and, like, the material things around them. That's what the 9 of Pentacles represents, is being satisfied with the fruits of our labor. It's almost like the harvest card where, you know, they planted the seeds of their life and now they're at a point of, okay, I'm very comfortable materially, but there's some part of them when they look back on what happened with you where, especially that 6 of Swords reversed, because normally upright the 6 of Swords is needing to move on physically somewhere else, but reversed, it's almost like they want to return back to something, and the 2 of Wands reversed is poor planning. Like, they know that they kind of fumbled a bit here, and they wish they could go back in time and fix it, even though there's a part of them that is happy with where they're at right now. So if, like, this is romantic pile number 3s, I think they're probably happy where they are, but at the same time, they wish they could turn back time and fix some of the things that they did, fix some of the attitude that they had with you, because they admired you a lot more than they let on. And it's almost like they kind of wish that they could tell you that, but they're, well, we'll use the same term just to be funny. Their emotional constipation got in the way. So just to word it that way, that was the word we used earlier. So our term, I should say. Yeah, they wish they could turn back time and have planned that better. But I do see a fondness here too. And I think for a lot of you, this was a long time ago, because that 9 of Pentacles, it's like a bunch of people at different ages, though most of them are children. Like, all getting back together and gathering. Like, looking back fondly on older days. And so it's fond memories now for them, and that's part of the harvest of, you know, how they reflect on it nowadays. Fondly, but there's a little bit of regret there, I definitely see. Unfortunately, like we said, their emotional constipation got in the way, so... Yep, that happens to the best of us, right? Especially, you know, I feel like this person never really was, and I don't mean it in like a negative way, but they were a lot more book than people smart is the vibe I get off of them, and so that reflected in the way that they interacted with you. Let's see if there's any other questions I want to ask for you. I think there's at least one more pile number 3s. I'm going to think about that for just a moment here. Apologies just for a second of silence as I think that over. Another question. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank for a second here. I just want to make sure we make good use of the rest of our time together. I want to ask what they learned from the situation. Let's ask that. Spirit team for pile number 3s, what did this other person learn from the situation with pile number 3s and the way that, like, what went down and what happened? Okay, that one for sure wanted to pop out, so we'll take that. Definitely that one. What did they learn? Let's unveil that hidden truth. So we have the King of Cups reversed. Well, they learned not to be emotionally constipated. Because that's literally what that card means, is like expressing your emotions, but reversed, it's like needing to do that more. You taught them not to hold back on feelings. Number 2, the Knight of Swords reversed, that you taught them how to take action with their words more. I think, you know, if there's any lesson, or core lesson to be drawn from how, like, what happened between you two, they learned, you taught them to be more forthcoming about how they felt and not to lose out on opportunities. And then the King of Pentacles upright. The King of Pentacles is all about the mastery of the material. To really go for the things that they want. And there's some aspect of, especially if this was school related, I think you taught them something that helped them in their career or helped them learn something that helped, like, spur them on their career path. Part of where they're at with their finances or career right now, though, pile number 3 is the reason why they're at that level of success is because of something you taught them. But yeah, just to summarize the other card, or 2 cards, I should say, you taught them not to be emotionally constipated, like we said. Sorry, it's funny, I just keep repeating it. And then number 2, you taught them how to take action with their words, with the Knight of Swords reversed. Swords are air, which is the suit of speaking and the mind, right? Pretty straightforward. So to summarize your reading so far, pile 3s, yeah, it's this person who they really did admire you deep down, despite how maybe ruthless or unfeeling they came off as. They really admired your spark, and they admired your mind in the way that you discussed or even sometimes argued with them. They appreciated that about you. And I think for a lot of you, this could have even been a potential romantic relationship. Even though they seem happy with where they're at right now, though, there is a bit of regret of how they had enacted their plans with you, or had not even taken action on plans that they were thinking with you, because I think they really did admire you a lot, pile number 3s, you know. Once again, if this was romantic, it was someone who probably was very into you romantically. You know, even though if it wasn't romantic, it could have been someone who just looked up to you very greatly. You know, once again, I'm drawn to what I was saying before with that cat looking up at the witch here. Like, I really admire this person. I like their confidence. We see that a lot with that Queen of Wands we saw earlier too, and then this witch is wearing the color red, and the color red is the color of, like, courage and passion and willpower and creativity, having, you know, a lifeblood to you. Yeah, they liked your spark, they liked, you know, and even the assassin might even represent you in a way, because not only is there a lot of red in that card as well, but the keywords for that card were, like, ruthlessness and conviction. So, and I don't mean that in, like, a negative way, pile number 3 is, you know, I don't think that they thought that you were, you know, like, ruthless and, you know, you're a harsh person. They thought you were very determined, like that Nine of Wands earlier, about the things that you wanted and going after what you wanted. And I think too, maybe that's part of the big reason they admired you, was because this person was so afraid to take action on the things that they were passionate about, but you weren't. And they really, really wished that they had that quality that you had. And that's why they admired you, because they thought, you know, I wish I could be like pile number 3s. So it might have came off that, like I said, that they felt like they hated you or despised you, but they really, really looked up to you, pile 3s. So that's your hidden truth for today, is someone that you thought was a hater actually was an admirer. And they look back on what you taught them very fondly. So that might even help alleviate a little bit of regret with this. Especially if you kind of took what you thought that they thought about you personally, when really it was, like I said, like pile number 1, it was more of a them problem than a you problem. And yeah. So that is what I will leave you with today. My wonderful pile number 3 is my lovely red-wearing, confident Queen of Wands is kind of what I see as your personality. So, as always, I hope that reading resonated with you. If it did, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for you and everybody else who watches my readings. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to see you in the next reading, either that be tomorrow if you join me for another Witchy Week reading, and or sometime in the future if you just happen upon my channel down the road. So I'll leave you with that, my wonderful pile number 3s, my spooky pile number 3s, I should say. Okay. Bye.